Brighton's finest.
Juice.
It's my understanding that the studio that the band operate in Leeds was flooded. The River Aire floods in Leeds in the winter of 2015.
Yeah. So it flooded on Boxing Day 2015. Yeah. Matt got a flood warning on his phone. He was at his parents' house for Christmas in Ilkley, which isn't too far away, and he rushed over to the studio, and there was water coming up the road, and he basically spent the next few hours doing his best to get all the expensive stuff up as high as he can up in the loft, and ended up being chest high in water. His car floated off down the road and then got looted the next day. Yeah, so he parked his car down the road, and when he came out, the flooding was so bad that his car had floated off, and his Christmas presents were in the boot.
Oh, no.
And when he got to his car the next day, his car had been looted and broken into.
Oh, perfect.
So not only was the studio destroyed, but the rest of us were kind of either back at our parents' for Christmas, or myself and Johnny, who lives in Solby Bridge. Solby Bridge was also flooded, so we kind of got trapped and couldn't go and help. It flooded on Boxing Day, and we kind of went in a couple of days later, once the water subsided, and gutted the whole studio. And then Matt basically spent the next 7 months redecorating it. He'd kind of had to wait on some flood grants and insurance payouts, that kind of thing, which wasn't going to cover all of the rebuild. So we did a bit of a crowdfunder, and a lot of people donated. And without that, I don't think the studio would exist now, to be honest. And if the studio didn't exist, the band might not exist anymore, because they're so intertwined. We kind of rely on the studio to practice and record.
So I suppose, even though it's very traumatic, all that, it's possible that it's kind of given you not a new lease of life, because you didn't really need that, did you? But a kind of a shot in the arm, in a way.
Yeah. I mean, having 7 months without a studio, once you get it back, you've got a lot of ideas and stuff built up and ready to go, and you're kind of very keen to get back to it, because we just started recording the new album.
Weirdly, no, I don't know what he had planned for the third album, if you'd even discussed it much, but obviously your first two albums are quite kind of informed by your live sound, aren't they? Whereas this third album, this new album, feels like more of a studio album.
Absolutely. I mean, the last album, we released it very quickly after the first album, to be honest. And that's just because it didn't take us we had quite a few of the songs written already before the first album had even come out. And we basically hammered that out, kind of how we play it live. We wrote it live, all of us in the practice room at the same time, and then just recorded it. And it was, pretty straightforward, really. So that was, I guess that was very much in keeping with our live sound at that time. So, I mean, understandably, you spend like a year or so working on a record, and then a couple of years playing shows around it. You want to do something different. So I guess our reaction to that was to go more studio-based.
Yeah. Okay. Are you able to comment much on the lyrics on the album? Is it something you feel you can comment on?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we've discussed at length, post-album, what the lyrics are about, and actually, for the first time on a Hookworms record, I guess the important thing to point out is that actually, you can hear and understand the lyrics very clearly, where in the past you might not have been able to do because of effects. It's definitely the first record we've done where I know what the lyrics are for the whole album. Because Matt's never been one for putting his lyrics in record sleeves or anything like that. So actually, there's still a lot of lyrics on the first two records that are a mystery to me. Yeah. So in that way, I guess I found it easier to connect with this record on an emotional level. So, I guess I'm hoping that that's what other people find as well.
Okay. So would you be able to comment on individual songs? For instance, Each Time We Pass. Could you comment on that one, which also features Alice Merida Richards? She's
actually from Brighton. She grew up in Brighton. She plays in a really great band called Virginia Wing, who I would, implore everyone to check out. We've toured with them in the past, and they're close friends of ours. And with that track, we wanted to do something a bit different, so we kind of sent a demo of it over to her, and she wrote some vocals and sent it back, and it kind of completely changed the direction of the song. So that was, again, like a really collaborative effort. But I couldn't, with complete accuracy, say what her lyrics were about, but I know that Matt's lyrics definitely about anxiety, I think, on that song.
Right.
Yeah, I think he was trying to work out what Merida had sung herself. What direction she was going with the lyrics. But I'm pretty sure that song's about anxiety and struggling to be out in public, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And what about the opening track, Negative Space? Can you talk about that one at all?
Yeah, that song's about, I guess, grief, dealing with death. I think half of the song is about one of our close friends passed away in 2016. So that's happened between the two. He was actually our live sound engineer, so he's toured with us for the last 5-6 years. And, unfortunately, he passed away after a short illness. So I think half of the song is about dealing with that. And the other half of the song, Matt's dad hasn't been very well. He's got Alzheimer's and has suffered with cancer. And I think the other half of the song is about, I guess death is what he's still with us, but potential, people almost dying, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a grieving process, and I guess in a way Matt's already grieved or is grieving for his dad because of his Alzheimer's.
Sure. You're touring the UK, including a date in Brighton, and obviously, as you mentioned, you've got some nice connections down here. And then what happens after that? What happens after the UK tour?
So we're doing Europe in a couple of weeks, and then after Europe we're doing the UK, and then we've just started booking a bunch of summer festivals. I guess we'll be, May through to September, we'll be mainly doing festivals that are going on in Europe and the UK. And then hopefully we might be able to get back to America again next year, because we had a failed last time we tried. We had, let's call it visa issues, expensive last-minute visa issues. So we had a full, 15-day US tour pulled, the day before we were meant to go.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. I think if we can find the heart, we might attempt that again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you should get there if you can. Just
definitely.
Fingers crossed. But so I also just wanted to ask you about how you make the music. It's sort of a typical Hookworm kind of track. It does feel like there's a kind of a real band effort behind